Hello and welcome to episode 82 of the Giddy Knits podcast. As always, I'm Helen and I'm coming to you from Dundee in Scotland, where I live with my husband Tom and my two boys, Arthur, who is 7, and Jasper, who is 4. They both had birthdays in November and I haven't quite got used to it yet. Today is Sunday the 9th of January 2021. We are finally in a new year. And this is, for anyone that doesn't know, my crafting, knitting podcast. I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns. And yeah, this is a place where I chat about all of my current knitting and other crafts, whatever might be happening in my crafty world, I guess. Right, so let me have a think. Is there anything else I'm supposed to say to you? Apart from welcome and hello. Let's start with that. I feel out of practice because I've not done a proper podcast since the middle of December. Vlogmas and Christmas just kind of got in the way of proper podcasts. So yes, hello and welcome back to all my regular viewers. Thank you very much for coming back as always. It's greatly appreciated. And if any of my new viewers who joined the channel during Vlogmas are carrying on and joining the podcasts to watch the podcasts, then welcome. I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to be thinking of doing things a little bit differently. I am thinking of doing things a little bit differently. I've been having a little think. And I want to keep the weekly podcasts because I really enjoy that. I really enjoy kind of chatting to you every week. But I also want to be able to do a slightly longer podcast where I can chat a little bit more, where I can ramble occasionally and yeah. But I know that there's a mix of people. A number of you like the shorter episodes because they're easier to watch sort of when they're more regular. And I know some of you like a longer episode where you can kind of sit down with your knitting and have a little chat with me, or a one-sided chat with me, I guess. So what I'm thinking of doing is that going forward, we'll try it for a few months and see how it works. But going forward, I'm thinking that the first podcast of each month will be a longer one. So I will be able to ramble a little bit more. I'll be able to chat a little bit more. I think I'll probably use that one as well to share kind of additional crafts to knitting and maybe share blanket progress a little bit more on that podcast where I've got a sort of more space and I can talk for longer as well. And then the other podcasts throughout the month, I will stick to a shorter kind of thing where I just kind of share my finished objects, my works in progress, any new cast-ons, and that kind of thing. I think that's my plan going forward. Let me know what you think. I know that a number of you expressed an interest in longer podcasts because you like the chatty, rambly content, which is great because I like chatting to camera. But I know that a number of you as well like the shorter ones because they're easier to watch on a regular basis. I don't think I could produce a weekly hour-long podcast and have everybody watch it. I can't watch weekly hour-long podcasts. So I think that's my plan. So once a month I will do a longer podcast which you can kind of sit down with your knitting with, and then throughout the rest of the month I'll stick to kind of the 20 to 30 minute podcasts that have been working well this year. Now, firstly, a few other things. We are obviously, if you are based in the UK, you will know this, we are obviously at the beginning of a brand new lockdown. In Scotland, that looks slightly different to it does in England, but our schools are off until at least February. We don't get a February half term in Scotland, so I'm imagining our schools will probably be off until the February half term equivalent, but we only get a long weekend. Because they have 2 weeks off in October. So we don't have February half term in the same way that the English schools do. But anyway, enough rambling. That means I'm back to homeschooling as of tomorrow. The term starts tomorrow. So I'm so not looking forward to that. Arthur is in P3, primary 3, which is the equivalent of year 2 in English schools. So he's only 7, so hopefully it won't be too much. The school are looking at doing things a slightly different way. We don't have video chats and stuff like that. It's all very much, there's no face-to-face for our school. But they've said they're going to be setting kind of activities, so a literacy, a numeracy and an other activity each day to be uploaded and sent back to the school. So we'll see how that looks. He's seeming a little bit more enthusiastic about it this time round, but the first lockdown, it was a struggle. The nursery are also going to be sending activities home for Jasper, whereas last time round I pretty much ignored every single email that came from the nursery because all I could do to get through the first lockdown was focus on getting my work done and focus on trying to get Arthur to do something schoolwork wise. But yeah, this time round the nursery are going to be sending activities as well, and we're also on the Seesaw app and we will also have things to upload. So that's going to be fun. Hopefully it's just going to be like draw a picture of a snowman. We will see. Anyway, what does that look like for the podcast? That's what I was trying to make a point of. So for the podcast, I think what I'm going to be doing is I am going to go back to recording at the weekends. So like today, it's Sunday today. So Tom is entertaining the children and I can kind of sit up here for a bit and chat to you and record, and then hopefully I will get it edited today and it will be ready and uploaded so that it will be ready for you for a Monday morning. It was nice being able to record on a Monday morning, have that as the start of my working week, but obviously with homeschooling and the kids home all the time and Tom working Monday to Friday, it's not going to work. So yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully you will get your podcast on a Monday morning and hopefully I will find time to record it on a Sunday. What else was I going to say? I can't remember now. I've lost track. That's what I was going to say. Length of the podcasts might be changing, lockdown and how that might affect it. Yeah. I will talk about shop news at the end, and I will talk in shop news a little bit about how lockdown and everything will affect the shop as well in shop news. But I just breathed in too deeply and now I have made myself cough. Do you like my mug? This was a bit of a Christmas present to myself. I've never had any Emma Bridgewater before, and this is an Emma Bridgewater mug. But I was on Instagram and the lovely Laura of The Lonely Knitter had posted that she had just ordered some Emma Bridgewater bits because in their sale they do seconds and they're a lot cheaper, and I can't find the fault. Well, I do know what the fault is on this one, but look, this here, can you see this tiny little bit of blurring on that U and this tiny little bit where it's not quite proper on there? That was the extent of why this mug is a second. So that doesn't bother me in the slightest, and I saved a fortune. I also got us a Christmas plate with mince pies. It's like a Santa plate from Emma Bridgewater as well. And again, the extent of the seconds on that was that the word mince in mince pies was slightly double printed. And I think unless you knew that it was a second, I wouldn't have noticed. So yeah, good tip for you. If you like Emma Bridgewater and it's out of your price range, have a little look at their seconds sale because, yeah, it was a bargain and I can't tell the difference. Right, hopefully that stopped me coughing. Right, let's get into some actual content, shall we, before I ramble too much. So what have I got for you today? I'm going to talk about, I've got just a little announcement section at the beginning, although I've just read my show notes and realised I'm supposed to be announcing the winners for the Giddy Yarns Make-Along, and I've not drawn the winners for the Giddy Yarns Make-Along yet. So I will pause shortly and draw the winners, and then I can let you know who they are. Whoops, I have put a post in to mark out where the section that the winners will be drawn from. Anyway, I've got some finished objects to share. I've got a few finished objects to share actually this week. I've got some works in progress to talk about as well as kind of new cast-ons. I think my works in progress are pretty much all new cast-ons, but that's fine. I'm going to talk about a little bit of blanket progress. I've got a couple of extra crafts to talk about this week as well. Then I was going to have a little chat about knitting plans for 2021 and knitting plans for my year, for the new year. I've got a bit of yarny goodness to share, and then I will finish off at the end with a little bit of shop news because I do have an update coming next week. Yes. Right, so before we get stuck into that, I am going to pause briefly and I am going to go and draw the winners for the Giddy Yarns Make-Along. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have drawn the prize, I have dug out the prize, and we have a winner. But before I announce the winner, I wanted to point out something that you may have noticed and I forgot to mention. If you watched Vlogmas, you will know that we have had a big switch around in the house. So we have swapped the office and the boys' bedroom, basically. We live in a 3-bedroom house. We rent currently. If you've watched for a while, you will know that we were hoping to buy a house last November and it all went completely wrong. But anyway, we are holding off until June, and then come the summer, we will start looking again. But anyway, as I was saying, we rent. So we rent a 3-bedroom house, and we had the boys in the smallest bedroom because when we moved up, Arthur was 4 and Jasper was about 18 months. So they didn't need a lot of space. We had a toddler bed and a cot in here, and that was it. But now that they're 7 and 4, they need a lot more space. They've got bunk beds, and our house was just, the downstairs of our house was just strewn with toys, and it was just annoying me so much, especially with lockdowns and everything that have happened this year and being at home a lot more. So we've moved it round because the office was the largest bedroom in the house. So they are now in there and they've got all their toys in there, which is amazing. There's no toys downstairs now. But it does mean that we've now moved the office into the smallest room in the house, which I'll admit is a little bit cramped. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to wind yarn. We'll work that out. But yeah, so you might notice a slight difference in the setup. Tom has put my shelves up for me, although we've gone with a slightly staggered look this time. There is a third one. If I tilt you back a bit. Whoops. There you go. There is a third shelf there as well. So a slightly staggered look this time round. And the window is on the opposite side. So whereas in the other room, the window was on my right, in this room, the window is on my left. But other than that, it's pretty much a very similar podcasting spot, which is nice. Anyway, you really didn't need to know that, but this is the podcast where I can chat and ramble a bit more, which is nice. Anyway, prize winners. So the Giddy Yarns Make Along, let's talk about that to start with. The Giddy Yarns Make Along is an ongoing make along where as long as you use 50% of my yarn, of Giddy Yarns, in your project, then you can enter for a prize. I am going to be continuing the make along throughout 2021 because I just like it. It's a really nice way to give back to my customers. So if you've ever bought my yarn, although to be fair, you don't have to have bought my yarn. If somebody has gifted you my yarn, then that's perfectly fine as well. But yeah, as long as you use 50% of my yarn in your project, then you can enter, and I will be drawing quarterly prizes throughout the year as well. So the prize winner that I'm about to announce was for Q4 of 2020. All the details for the make along are in our Ravelry group, and they are also under the video. That's the other place they are. And if you aren't able to access Ravelry because of various accessibility issues that are still ongoing, then you can enter on Instagram with the hashtag, and I have forgotten what the hashtag is. I think it is just simply Giddy Yarns FO. I will pop it on the screen. I will make a note to pop it on the screen. Hashtag on screen. And I will also make sure that it's in the drop down box down below so that you can see it there. Anyway, right. What was I going to say? Winner. You want to know who's won, don't you? So the winner was post number 80. And that is the lovely Linda Shields, and she knit a pair of socks using my anemone colourway. So congratulations, Linda. I have definitely got your address, but if you get in touch with me to let me know that you have seen this and that you know that you're a winner, I will pop your prize in the post. And your prize, because you didn't know what you were winning anyway, is this lovely set of minis, which is from my 1970s Nostalgia Club. And I can't quite remember what they all were. It was Avocado Bathroom Suite, Rubik's Cube, Sex Pistols, and I can't remember what the other two were. I think that was Heatwave. It was the hottest summer on record in the UK, so it was a Heatwave. And was it Mr. Bump? I think it might have been Mr. Bump from the Mr. Men. It was the Mr. Men books. There we go. I think that's what they all are. Hopefully I've got an information sheet tucked away somewhere so I can send you the information sheet with it as well. But yeah, that is your prize. Right, Shall we actually talk about some knitting? I feel like I've been talking for like 10-15 minutes now and I've not even talked about any knitting. Finished objects. Let's share some finished objects. I've got 4 finished objects to share with you and I'm trying to remember where they all are. Let's start with an adventy finished object. And this was living in this lovely bag. I want to share this bag because I bought this during December and I don't think I shared it on the podcast. But I bought this lovely Christmas bag from Bertie and Poppet, the lovely Jill. And it's gorgeous. And I have finished my Hearten mitts. So this was a pattern I was using my Scrappy Advent swap for. And this is the finished mitts. They are they're fingerless mitts and they don't have a thumb gusset either. It's just sort of a little bit for the thumb. But they are really, really lovely. I'm really pleased with how they came out. I'm really pleased with how the colours worked as well. They were really fun to knit. There were a lot of ends to weave in, I will say that. And I did do a bit of a messy job of weaving in the ends around the thumb. But I don't really mind. There is a second one, obviously. It just doesn't quite go over my watch without a bit of fiddling. There we go. So we do have a second one as well. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with these. These were the pattern was part of the Knit Vent selection. I feel like you're a bit high. There we go. The pattern was part of the Knit Vent selection by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. So it was designed specifically for 24 Advent minis. Now, I didn't do 24 thinking about it. I can't remember how many I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I did 20. There were a few colours in my swap that I just didn't want to include, basically. That's the only thing. They've gone into the magic knot ball that I made, but I didn't want to include them in the actual mittens, and I was quite happy with the length. You knit them from the fingers down, so you start up here and then you cast off at the wrist, so it's quite nice because you can get a little bit of a play on the length and decide the length you'd like. And as I said, magic knot ball, I put all of the leftovers from the swap into a magic knot ball, and then this will go into my Mild Mayhem blanket, which you will see in the future because I'm not talking about it this week, but that's really good because I've got a great big magic knot ball. And I can now use these because I've shown them to you. So that is my first finished object. I'm trying to work out where to put things. I'm just going to pop it on the floor and regret it when I have to tidy up afterwards. And I've got 3 more finished objects to share as well. But I got those mitts finished before the end of the year. I can't remember if I got them finished before Christmas. I'm not sure. But I definitely got them finished before the end of the year, which was nice. I really liked getting them finished. It was at least one of my Advent projects that was actually finished in December. Right, the second finished object are my Halloween socks. These have taken forever. These should have been knit and finished during our Halloween make-along, and I completely failed. But they're living in this lovely bag that the lovely Gem of the Little Grey Girl sent me as a gift. Such pretty fabric. And these were knit with, oh, just found a load of stitch markers in the bottom. I must remember to take those out. These were knit with one of my sock blanks. So this is the Goosebumps sock blank. And I just knit a pair of shorty socks. So they're not overly exciting, but I do have 2. And they are finished. And I just thought I could have put them on sock blockers, couldn't I, to show you, but my sock blockers are out of reach. But yeah, I have got 2 little shorty socks. I like the way that sock blanks knit up. It's always interesting to see kind of how you get the different pattern and the way they look different from sock to sock. I'm not showing these very well, am I? Sorry. There we go. Let's try like that. I'll hold them back a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Exciting. No pattern at all. I did vanilla socks. I did them cuff down. They're loosely based on the Rose City Rollers Is it the Rose City Rollers? I think it's called the Rose City Rollers, in that I didn't do a cuff. So they've just got a rolled brim. So you just literally cast on straight away with the rolled brim. And then I think I did about 20 rows before I put the heel in. I just did my standard kind of German short row heel. And then I did the foot. I always have to do a longer foot on shorty socks. I don't know why. And with the sock blank even more so, because it kind of tightens my stitches up, because you're working with the crinkly yarn, she says, not being able to find the end. Yeah, because you're working with the crinkly yarn. Oh, there it is. I find that I think I just pull it tighter to overcome the crinkle, so it tightens my row gauge, I guess. But yeah, one finished pair of socks. These are going to be the first pair of socks that get tucked away into my box of socks. These I will probably pull out in the summer. But what I did last year and what I really enjoyed is that every pair of socks that I completed throughout 2020, I popped in a box, and then at the beginning of December, I opened up that box and had a whole load of new socks for December, which was really nice. So I think I'm going to do the same again this year, although these will get picked out in the summer so that I can wear them with shorts and, like, what do you call them? Like Converse shoes, but I don't have Converse, but those kind of Converse style shoes. Anyway, I don't know. But yeah, one pair of socks finished, and I've got a reasonable amount of the sock blank left, so I'm not quite sure what I'll do for that. I'll probably tuck it away and then send it out in a swap or something at some point. Right, and then I've got a couple of other finished objects. Oh yeah, the other one I finished in December is, if I can get to him. Oh, come down. Nutmeg. If you are a long-term viewer of the podcast, you will know how much I enjoy the gnomes from Sarah at Imagined Landscape. My head is hiding them, but we have got 4 other gnomes up there. And yeah, I really do enjoy these gnomes. And this was the Adventure Gnome, she called it, and it was designed as an advent calendar. And throughout December, you got daily little clues, and either it was part of the pattern, or it was a little bit of a story, or there were a couple of recipes in there as well. It was really, really fun. And I did finish Nutmeg before Christmas. So I did manage to finish him within the Advent kind of time schedule. He's got a really fun stripy hat. I left his beard all loose, and I was a bit worried. I wasn't sure I was going to like it as much as I do, because some other people did really crinkly beards. The way it's knit, you could block it first and then you got like a super crinkly beard, but I actually quite like his straggly beard in the end. He has a little belt buckle. I used some glittery thread to make his belt buckle. And his arms are like joined with a little mitt. And then, unlike any other gnome, he has legs. So he can actually sit on the shelf with his legs dangling over the edge. And that makes me very, very happy in a very strange way. But yeah, that is my Nutmeg gnome. And as I said, it was a pattern by Sarah, who is Imagined Landscapes, and so much fun. I'm hoping she's got more advent gnomes, more mystery gnomes planned for the new year. Right, and then the final finished object is a washcloth, and I randomly knit this yesterday. I've been following, well, I've seen a few people mention this person and this pattern. So there is an account on Instagram called the Kitchen Sink Shop, and it is Garlene, who I hadn't heard about, but a few people I follow on Instagram were knitting a washcloth. And she is doing a year-long kind of washcloth knit-along kind of thing, where she's going to be releasing a free washcloth pattern every month. And I just thought, I need some new washcloths. I've not knit more washcloths in absolutely ages. I fancied a quick, easy, simple knit, pattern yesterday. So I thought I'd start one, and I actually managed to finish the whole thing yesterday. I started it yesterday afternoon, and it was so simple and easy. I just picked it up every so often throughout the afternoon and throughout the evening, and I finished it. So this is the Icicles washcloth pattern. It is available on Ravelry. I will put a note, I will obviously link it down below in the show notes. Did I mention the show notes are below the video? I don't think I did. The show notes are below the video, and I will link everything I remember to link that I talk about in the show notes. So this is it. And it's just a really simple, really fun washcloth pattern. She, as I said, she's doing monthly free ones, and I think you can sign up to her newsletter to get them earlier, but then she is also going to be popping them on Ravelry kind of in the middle of the month. And I haven't decided yet. Part of me wants to knit them and keep them nice and then open them all at the end of the year. Part of me just wants some new washcloths. I don't use them as dishcloths. I use them in the shower, basically. But part of me just wants some new washcloths, so I might just knit them and start using them straight away. The yarn I've used for this one is just the Hobbycraft. I think I've got a label in here. It's my washcloths live in this bag. This was a super fun bag that I won in a raffle kind of thing at a Socks on the Beach meetup. I absolutely love it. It's such a good size as well. And this is, yes, the yarn I'm using. This is the wrong colour, but the yarn I'm using is just the Women's Institute Home Cotton. This is actually an Aran weight. I'm pretty sure that the pattern's written for DK, but I just used the recommended needle size. Did I use the recommended needle size, or did I use 5? I used 5mm and this Aran yarn. The recommended needle size is 5.5mm, but it worked fine, and I'm really happy with kind of the tension I got. Because I guess you don't need to be really accurate, do I? I just figured I'd get a slightly bigger washcloth if I knit it with slightly thicker yarn. I'm not sure. But yeah, so it's the Women's Institute Home Cotton, exclusive to Hobbycraft. I think this is pretty cheap. I've used it before. I used up all of this blue. I do have a bit more. I do have pink. I've got some pink. And I've got a couple of other cotton yarns this kind of style, which are Sugar and Cream, I think. Yeah, Sugar and Cream. But I wasn't 100% sure about the variegated aspect of them with that pattern. I wanted to just use, oh goodness, this one's got so tangled up. I think I wanted to just use a plain yarn so that the pattern was shown off, really. So I might order at some point some more of the plain cotton yarn for more of the washcloths. Anyway, I feel like I've rambled on about washcloths for absolutely ages. I will link the pattern down below. I will also pop a link to, well, yeah, I will link the pattern down below, and I will also pop a link to her Instagram feed as well, so you can see about kind of the monthly washcloth patterns. But it was super fun, it was super quick, and I feel like I could knit one a month without any stress, so I might do that. Right, that's all my finished objects. Whew, I need another sip of tea. I told you this first one of the month was going to be longer. I'm thinking they'll probably be about an hour. We will see. Right, works in progress. As I said, all my works in progress are pretty much new cast-ons. So I've only really got 2 that I've been working on, and 2 that I was going to show you, and both of them are Advent or Christmas related cast-ons. So let's start with this, and they're both living in Christmas bags as well. This lovely Christmas bag from Debbie at Down Sheepy Lane, and I bought this set specifically for my Christmas Eve cast on. She was doing a set where you got the yarn, so it came with a sock set, and this is the yarn which is attached to everything. I'm getting so tangled up this week. This is the yarn, and then the bag, so they kind of matched very nicely actually. And the yarn is called Cozy and Joyful. Yeah, there's the label. It's Debbie, Down Sheepy Lane. Cozy and Joyful. And yeah, I cast these on Christmas Eve. I didn't do a lot on Christmas Eve, I will admit. I literally cast it on, and that was about it. But it was still a Christmas Eve cast on. I'm knitting these 2 at a time. So I think this is the one that I've done most on. I'm not 100% sure. I'm using a pattern as well. So this is my Cozy and Joyful Autumn Socks. So the pattern I am using is by Jessie Marie Makes, and it is the Autumn Adventures pattern, which is just a really fun textured pattern with kind of like a, I don't even know what you call it. It's kind of like a broken rib, double rib thing. But it's really nice. I'm just doing it on the front of the sock. So the back of the sock is just plain stocking stitch, and then the front of the sock has the pattern on. And I'll do the same down the foot as well. So the top of the foot will have the pattern on, and I'll leave it off the back. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a really nice pattern. It's just a 2-row pattern repeat, really nice and simple. The pattern itself has a lot of options in. It's written toe up and cuff down. It's written with a heel, and it's got a heel, I've forgotten, I'm going to use it this time, but it's got like a high instep adjustment with a short row heel. And there's also a single rib and a double rib version. I'm doing the double rib version. But yeah, it's a pattern that's got quite a lot in. You could probably knit 4 pairs of socks and they'd all be knit slightly differently with the same pattern. So as I said, I'm knitting them 2 at a time. So that's the first one. And the second one, well, I guess I'm not knitting them 2 at the time. I'm knitting them concurrently is the term, isn't it? Because they're on different needles. So tangled up. But yeah, there we go. I have two on the go at the same time. I've done a slightly longer cuff than I normally do. I've done 20 rows of rib for the cuff, just a 2x2 rib. I think that might be different to the pattern, but I wanted a longer cuff. And then I will use the contrast for the heels and the toes and random bits of yarn. I'll use the contrast for the heels and the toes. But that's my Christmas Eve cast on, and they are coming on. They're the only socks I've got on the needles at the moment. So at some point, I think I might cast another pair on. I just need to determine whether I've got enough needles, enough nice needles. I use, for my favourite sock needles are the ones I'm using here, which are the higher sharps. I do have some Knit Pro Zings, which I love for other projects, but I'm not overly keen on knitting socks on them because I find the joins when I'm knitting kind of small circumference socks, I find the joins a little bit bumpy. But I think I've only got 3 pairs of higher sharps, so I either need to knit another pair of higher sharps. I either need to purchase another pair of higher sharps, or I need to do something else. What was the yarn base? I haven't told you the yarn base. I don't know what the yarn base was. Oh, I thought it was, yeah. So it's a 75-25 merino nylon that I'm knitting those in. Right, and my other new cast on is living in another Christmas bag. Let's get rid of that little tiny scrap of yarn. And this was if you watch Vlogmas, you'll know the story because I think I shared it in the kind of extended Vlogmas. But this bag is a lovely bag from Ellie at Craft House Magic. And Tom bought me a bag from Ellie. Well, technically the boys, it was from the boys, but Tom obviously ordered it for them. And when it arrived, she'd sent 2. She'd sent an additional one because she'd known that I didn't have very many Christmas bags. So she very kindly sent me an extra one. So I think this is the extra one. I can't remember exactly which one Tom said he ordered. But anyway, but this bag seemed a perfect bag for the project. Because the project that I am knitting is the Cupid's Arrow wrap, which is Ellie's Advent project. Again, all of this will be linked down below, so you'll be able to find it a little bit more easily there. But this is the project that I've chosen to knit with my Spectrum Fibres Advent calendar for 2020. And this is where I am at so far. So I've just started the 4th colour. This obviously needs blocking, so this would be an edge, if that makes sense. At the moment it looks a slightly funny shape because the edge is not quite straight. But yeah, this is coming along. So it's kind of an asymmetrical long wrap. I am omitting the lace sections. I'm just going to do mine in garter stitch, but I am going to put the tassels on. But yeah, this is where we are so far. So these first 2 colours, you can just kind of see how they've blended. The change between the 2nd and 3rd colour is more obvious. And I'm just in the colour transition section for the third to the fourth colour. It's really simple. It's really, really relaxing and mindless. I love the edge. Let's show you this edge because it's got less ends. I love the edge. She's done like an I-cord edge with a little kind of eyelet bit next to it. And that's so fun. I've never done an I-cord edge the way Ellie gets you to do it in this pattern. But it's really good. I really like how it works. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying the pattern and I would highly recommend it. It's written for either 10 gram or 20 gram minis. She gives you an idea of how you could do it with scraps as well. There's lots of information in the pattern to make it work for the yarn and the minis that you have. And as I said, there are lace sections in the original pattern. I don't think I've got a picture of it, but I've talked about it before. There are lace sections in the original pattern, but I'm not going to do the lace sections because I just want something that's going to be really relaxing. And then when it's done, I'll give it a good block and it should be a nice size. So that is that one. The yarn, as I said, is all the yarn from the Spectrum Fibres Advent Calendar. I don't have it all in here. I've got, this is colours 4, 5 and 6, or what I'm using is colours 4, 5 and 6. I rearranged the Advent Calendar into kind of a kind of rainbow. I'm starting with the purples and I'm going to finish with the blues. And yeah, so these are kind of the next 3 colours. So it's going to be bright and cheerful and fun and it's going to be amazing. Yeah, that's that one. Right, so I wanted to talk as well about blanket progress, and I'm just going to stick with my Advent blanket, which is living in my basket that's just got attached to the blanket on the back of here. Whoops. Lives in my basket at the moment. I won't get it all out because I've kept all of the colours in their bags so that I've got the numbers for each day so that I can get them in the right order. But I have made some progress with this. It's slightly slow progress, or slower than I would like, but hopefully it will pick up a little bit now that the chaos of Christmas has stopped. But this is where I'm at. I've done 4 rows of my Advent blanket. So my plan with this was to do alternate squares in each row. So the top row is colours 1 and 2. The second row is colours 3 and 4. The third row is colours 5 and 6. And the fourth row is colours 7 and 8. And I'm really, really enjoying how this is working up. I've also got colours, I'm not sure which colour is 9 and 10, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not worrying about what order I put them in this. So like this one, I can't quite remember whether this is 1 and 2. I'm not worried whether I put this one 2 and 1 or 1 and 2, if that makes sense. As long as 1 and 2 are alternating on the row, and as long as they go nicely with the next one down. So this is either colour 9 or 10. She says, not being able to hold it up to the camera properly. There we go. And I've bordered all of these in the grey. And then this one is either colour 9 or 10. So this is the other one that will alternate with this one. So we've got a bit of a grey row, and they will be going in underneath these 2. She says, I'm showing you the back. What am I doing? These 2. So at the moment, I'm thinking that one will go underneath that one. And then the stripier, the speckledy one will go underneath that one. But yeah, it's making progress slowly. I was a little bit disappointed with myself by the fact that I hadn't got more of this done, because I had it in my head that I would be able to do a colour a day. But actually, when you think about it, this is 4 rows of 8 that I've completed, which is this is where my maths is wrong, 8 times 4. 8 times 4. Why can't I work out 8 times 4? 32? Is that right? No. 4 fours are 16. So 8 fours must be 32. Maybe? That's appalling if I'm getting my maths completely wrong. Doesn't bode well for homeschooling, does it? Anyway, there's more than 24 squares. That's what I'm trying to get at. There are more than 24 squares. So I did knit more than a square a day throughout Advent. And yeah, so actually I need to be less tough on myself about those kinds of things. But this will continue to see progress, and I will keep showing you as and when I have more progress on it. But that is my Advent blanket. I'm going to pop that back up there to try and keep myself a bit more room. And then I wanted to talk about a couple of other crafts, because I have done a little bit of cross stitch, and I've actually finished one of my long-term cross stitch things. And I also got a lovely gift for Christmas as well, which I shared a little bit on Vlogmas, but I wanted to share some progress with. So let's start with the cross stitch. This will just be a quick show you the finished ones. So if you've been watching for a while, you'll remember that I finished this one a while back, and I'd purchased these patterns via plastic little covers on Etsy. And she just does digital patterns, and then I purchased the colours separately. So this one is Home is Where the Pants Aren't, and it's just a beautiful kind of floral pattern with the text. And then I was working on the second one, which is on a completely different sized Ada, which is slightly frustrating, but I'm embracing it. So this is the second one, which I've just finished. Home is Where the Bra Is Not. And the plan is for these to go above mine and Tom's bed. And then I've got a third one, which I'm hoping to start. I've just ordered some more threads because I had a few missing colours. But I'm hoping to start that one soon. And that one is, I haven't actually got an image that I can show you of the whole thing. But it says, and they lived happily ever after. And I like the idea of that going above our bed. It makes me smile and it makes me laugh. But yeah, I finished this one yesterday. So I was quite pleased to get this done and finished. I'm hoping to do a little bit more cross stitch this year because I do enjoy it, and it's coming back into fashion, isn't it? So I have dug out the second one and the third one even in the little set that I wanted to knit up, to crochet up, knit up, sew up, whatever. I've dug out the third one and I'm going to hopefully start that. So I will be able to share that one with you next month. Right, I need to pause the camera quickly because my camera will only record in about 30-minute chunks, otherwise it cuts off. So it's easier to just pause it and restart it. The other thing I wanted to talk about is spinning. A lovely friend of mine bought me a drop spindle set for Christmas. She purchased it from Spin City, and that's their website just there. Again, I will make sure I link things down below. Excuse the crinkling. But this came with a gorgeous drop spindle and lots of kind of little bits of fibre. So it comes with one, and again, please correct my terminology because I need to learn more about it. But I've never spun before and my terminology on it is not great. So is this a bat? I think this is a bat, isn't it? So it comes with one bat of kind of mixed fibres, pretty art. Is it an art bat, maybe it's called, I think? I'm not 100% sure. But it's super pretty. I haven't touched that one yet. And then it also came with a bag of lots of little bits of fibre. I don't know what they're called. Just little bits. So it's like, if I pull the yellow one out. There we go. It's just kind of like that, basically. And then she's twisted them up into little balls. Don't know. Again, terminology. And what I have done is had a go. So yeah, I haven't worked out how much each of these are, what they weigh. I think most of them are merino. I'm guessing. Again, it didn't come. The only thing is, it didn't come with any information about what the fibres are, which is a little bit of a shame because I would quite like to know. But I think these ones are probably merino. This one isn't. This one smells very, very sheepy, and is a bit coarser. It hasn't got glitter in it. That's come off something else. It's a lot coarser. And it smells very, very sheepy. So that's definitely something else. But again, I don't know what it is. But as a little starter kit, I think it's brilliant. So what I did is I started out with, this bit here. And this was my first attempt. Now, typically, because I've wound it off the spindle into a ball, what you're seeing is the worst of it, because this is the first first ever bit that I did. So it's a little bit of a mess. But I did that one. And then what I decided to do was, I decided to do 2 others. And then the friend that bought it for me, we had a little session over Zoom and she taught me how to ply it together. And this is what I've come up with. So I have a little cake. I haven't weighed this actually, but I think it's around 20 grams, something like that, of hand spun fibre. And I plied it together, just a really simple, I don't know terminology. It's just a really simple kind of 2-ply, I guess. But I'm really, really pleased with it. It's definitely usable. I haven't decided what I want to do. I'm thinking of starting some kind of blanket, but what I can't decide is whether I just want to do like I might just do like a cozy memories, but I want something where the size isn't going to matter. Which actually, I guess with a cozy memories, it would be okay because you pick up the stitches based on the stitch count, don't you? So you might just get a little bit of bunching if one is spun thicker than another. But the number of stitches would still be the same. So maybe that would work. I don't want to crochet it. I want to knit with it. So I want something that's knitted, and I want something where I can see my progression. So I can see like, that's the first one I knit, and then that's the next one I spun, and then that's the next one. So I can kind of see my progression, if that makes sense. So maybe a cozy memories is the best idea. Part of me was thinking of doing like some kind of bits and bobs blanket or something like that, but honestly I don't really want the long rows, and I want the individual yarns to be much more focused. So maybe I will just start like a cozy memories blanket. I've got no idea what this is. I'm guessing I've spun something around a DK, maybe a worsted. I haven't looked. I need to do like wraps per inch to work out roughly what I've spun. But honestly, at this stage, I'm not worried. I'm not trying to knit anything fancy with it. I'm not trying to knit socks with it. I literally just want to have the fun of spinning it and creating my own yarn, and then I might put it in a blanket. Eventually, once I get kind of more used to it and more skilled with it, and I know what I'm doing more, then hopefully I will be able to make something out of it, even if I can just make a hat out of hand spun. But at this stage, it's just going to be little kind of 20-gram nuggets while I learn what I'm doing. And then I'd like to be able to put some in a blanket and then eventually create something else with it. But I did really enjoy creating this. It was really, really fun. It was really relaxing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to finding a bit more time to do some more as well. But yeah, if anyone has any good spinning resources, then please let me know, because I would be really, really curious to learn a lot more. Right, excuse the crumpling while I put this away. There we go. It's away. I will pop it over there. Right. So that's the 2 new things. Yeah, I was really excited to get the drop spindle, because I've never done any spinning, and I've always admired all the drop spindles and things like that at shows when I've gone, and always admired the fibre. But yeah, it was a good Christmas present. Right, what else did I want to talk about? Let's talk about knitting goals and knitting plans going into 2021. I wanted to create less knitting goals for myself this year. Last year I did make 9. In fact, the last few years I've done make 9, and I never complete it. And again, I talked about this on Vlogmas, but I'm going to talk about it here as well in case there's anyone that didn't watch Vlogmas. But I was chatting to somebody, and they said, in fact, I think it was when I talked about make 9 on the video before, the lovely Rachel in the comments said that what she was doing instead of make 9 was to take a number of skeins from her stash and have those as her goal to knit in the year. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. So what I've done is I've picked 6 skeins from my stash, and my big knitting goal for the year is to get these 6 skeins of yarn knit into socks. I've only picked 6 because I want to give myself a little bit of flexibility. Last year I I finished more than 10 pairs, but in the year I started and completed 10 pairs of socks in 2020. So I wanted to give myself a little bit of flexibility in case, you know, a new skein of yarn comes along that I fall in love with, or if I'd have to knit samples for the shop. So I thought I'd run through quickly the 12 that I've picked. So I have dug out this skein from the corner of Craft. This is a BFL nylon blend, and it is her Operation Social Justice Insert Class Here colourway. It's really, really fun and really, really pretty. I have dug out this skein of fruit. I really can never say the name. I don't know what it is about the double F's that I struggle with. Fruitful Fusion. So I purchased this skein a while back and I just loved it so much, and I'm desperate to get this knit into a pair of socks. This is the Sarah colourway, and this is a merino nylon but a high twist 80-20 blend. Really, really pretty. I've dug out this skein from Henny Penny Makes, and this is her Faded Christmas colourway. I think this might be the first one that I cast on, and this is a 75-25 merino nylon blend. It's just a really fun, pretty, variegated skein. I also dug out this skein, which is from Moods of Colour, who I believe are a Swedish brand. I'm not 100% sure. I got it in a yarn swap a long time ago. The colourway is Blooming Pacific Moods, and it's a merino nylon blend. But it's such a pretty colour, and it's been sat there for so long. This has to become a pair of socks. I've also got this skein from Strawberry Fields Yarn, who is Lizzie. And this is the Gingham Altar colourway. And again, this is another merino nylon. But such a pretty skein that's just been sat there for ages, and I need to do something with it. And then finally, I've dug out this little self-striping selection. And this is from Debbie at Down Sheepy Lane. And this is her Toss a Coin colourway, and then the Cole Mini. And this is one of her Witcher inspired colourways. And I have got it on merino nylon. So that's definitely going to get knit up this year. What was I going to say? Self-striping. Sharon of the SCR1 TNO podcast is hosting a self-striping knit along this year. She is doing it, so the way it works is you can knit any self-striping you want for one entry a month. You don't have to knit a pair every month, but obviously each month you do knit a pair, you get entered for prizes. And she's putting specific dyers on specific months or specific yarn brands. She's got an independent dyer and a commercial dyer each month. And if you knit yarn using those brands, you get an extra entry. For example, the month, I can't remember what month it is, but one of the months is Down Sheepy Lane. And if you knit Down Sheepy Lane socks in that month, you would get 2 entries. So more chances of winning prizes. And I am contemplating joining in with the knit along. I am trying to be relaxed with it and trying not to kind of go, ooh, I've got some yarn by that person, I'm going to knit those every month. I'm trying not to do that. The excitement gets in the way, but I know I won't do that. But even if I can just knit kind of a few pairs of self-striping socks and add them whenever, then I think that's going to be my plan. So yeah, Debbie is definitely one of the dyers. I think she's put me down as April, maybe. So if you've got any of my self-striping yarn and you fancy entering that. But then, as I said, she's also got commercial brands in there as well. Or you can knit a brand that isn't in the list and you still get an entry. You just don't get an extra entry. Anyway, I think she's just put a podcast up today. Just when I sat down to record, I saw it flash up on the screen. And the title seemed to be something about knit alongs. So hopefully she'll be talking about it in that episode. So if you're interested, then head on over to that. I will link her down below in the show notes when I'm talking about the self-striping. But yeah, I love the idea of a self-striping knit along. I've got quite a few skeins of self-striping that could do with knitting up. So yeah, maybe self-striping socks this year. We will see. Still need to knit the other 5 though. And that's my major goal for 2021's knitting, really. The other thing I'm hoping to do is the washcloths that I mentioned earlier. The fact that she's going to do a pattern a month, I think I might try and knit the pattern each month. But knowing that that washcloth I was able to knit just in one afternoon takes the pressure off with that, because I should be able to keep up with that without too much worry. Right, what else? I'm looking at the things I've got here. That's all yarny goodness. Let's move on to some yarny goodness, shall we? I feel like it's been ages since I bought yarn for myself. It might not be true, but it feels like it. But I've had a few deliveries arrive. So first of all, this arrived in the middle of December, and this is my lovely mystery gem from Gemma at the Little Grey Girl. We won't pronounce that one wrong. And this was the final one of the year, and it is absolutely lovely. So you get the mood board. It was the space edition. And the dyer for this month was Dusty Dimples. And this is the yarn that she created. And it's a really interesting blend. It's a 50-50 merino nylon. So it's 50% merino and 50% nylon, which is really interesting. It's really soft. And it's really smooth. So I'm guessing socks would work quite well in this. But I'm not 100% sure. I think I might need to have a look and see what other people have made with this base. If you've knit with this base, then let me know. I mean, even a cowl or something in this would be right. It is really soft. It's called Space Cadet. That's really pretty. And then the bag, my favourite shape of bag by Gemma. I love these ones. These are, these little sock bags are my favourite. And that's such fun fabric, isn't it? I think my next sock cast on needs to go in this bag. And then you also get a little sachet of soak. This is the yuzu colour. This is the yarn that I rinse. This is the soak, the scent. That's the term I'm after, isn't it? That I rinse all of my yarn in. And a little pair of folding scissors, which are super handy. So they need to go in the project bag. And the next pair of socks that I cast on and go in there. So that is that one. She has got really interesting plans for her mystery gem this year. She's changing up the way she does it a little bit, and I'm really interested to see exactly what she comes up with. She's been discussing it. If you don't know, Gem is a good friend of mine, and we chat quite often on WhatsApp, and she's been running some ideas by me with her new yarn and bag club for 2021, which is really interesting. Right, I got some more yarny goodness. I've treated myself to a few things this month. I think the new lockdown and post-Christmas and everything like that, I've just been a bit like, no, why not? But I purchased some opal yarn from Suffolk Socks. I ordered this. And I got this one here. Oh no, I really should have translated the names, shouldn't I? These two are the Bedtime Stories collection colourways. And this one is, I don't know. This is this one. Do you know what? I will run it through Google Translate, although I'm certain there's some of you out there who are in Germany and watching this, and you will know exactly what this is, and I'll run it through Google Translate and it will come completely wrong. But yeah, that's that one. And then there is this one. And then this one is the Fairy Tale collection. And the colourway for this one is, I think this was just like elf something to do with elves. I've forgotten. But I just thought they were all really fun and pretty. And I want to knit some more commercial socks this year. So I just picked those three up. Suffolk Socks was having a sale. So they were very reasonable. And I will be knitting some more socks this year with commercial sock yarn. So that is that one. And then the final thing is actually my 12 Days of Christmas box from Debbie at Down Sheepy Lane, but I didn't get a chance to show it properly during the kind of extended Vlogmas, so I thought I would share it now. So this is what I got. The box isn't the box that it came in. I've just popped it in this box to keep it safe. So these are all the colours and the yarn. So it came with a lovely little Christmas project bag, which is really, really pretty. I really like this. And I chose, you had an option of the different, you could either have mohair or the Surrey alpaca, and I've gone for the Surrey alpaca. So it's just an undyed Surrey alpaca. Oh look, there's a little reindeer stitch marker there. It's a really cute one. It's like a little enamel filled. And then you also got the 12 minis. So there are lots of them, and I'm just kind of going to show you like this, to be completely honest, because I don't want to take them out of the days. I haven't quite worked out what I'm going to do with this yet. I want to make... Can you hear the child? Tom is around. He will deal with the shouting child. But yeah, I don't quite know. I want to make a cowl. No, I want to make a hat. I said this. I want to make a hat. I'm really enjoying my everyday slouchy beanie, which was held mohair and fingering weight together. I'm wearing that constantly at the moment. So what I want to do is I want to knit a hat holding these two together, but using all 12 of the minis, and keep it really simple. So if you know of a pattern that does that, that's like the everyday slouchy beanie and it uses 12 mini skeins, then that would be great. Otherwise, what I might do is I think I might look at the pattern, work out how many rows I did, and then break down kind of how many rows of each colour I need to do, basically. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do it with make a kind of rainbowy fade with these to knit that hat pattern. Okay, I'm now aware that I've probably talked for more than an hour. Having done it in bits and pieces, it's hard to tell, but I must be getting up to the hour mark now. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was some shop news, I think. Let's just check the show notes. Yeah, I think I've talked about everything else. The last thing I wanted to talk about was some shop news. I don't have anything to physically share with you, but a couple of things. First of all, I wonder if I've got any more tea left. A little bit, but it's gone cold. First of all, my first shop update of the year will be on Monday, the 18th of January. Now, that might seem like a very strange day for a shop update, but Monday, the 18th of January is Winnie the Pooh Day. I have no idea why Winnie the Pooh has a special day to celebrate it, but it does. So the 18th of January is officially Winnie the Pooh Day, and last year I launched my Winnie the Pooh collection on that day. And I thought this year to celebrate Winnie the Pooh Day, because at the moment in the midst of lockdown, we need to celebrate everything we can. I would have another shop update. So I will be dyeing up, well, I have already dyed up the Winnie the Pooh minis. They will be back again. There's another batch of those going in the shop. I will be restocking Pooh Sticks, which is the main colourway that I released last year. I am also planning on dyeing up the minis of Winnie the Pooh as 100 gram skeins. So each of the 5 mini skeins in the bundle, I'm going to dye up as 100 gram skeins. And then I'm also hoping to come up with one new 100 gram skein colourway as well. I'm going to have a little flick through my Winnie the Pooh book and see what jumps out at me as an idea for a Winnie the Pooh colourway. So that will be on Monday the 18th. It will probably be, I can't talk. It will probably be at 8 p.m. on Monday. And yeah, Winnie the Pooh all the way. I've also got a couple of other little bits and pieces. I've done some, I've done a blue gradient bundle, so they'll be going in. But that's probably it. The other thing I wanted to say is that over the next month and a bit, my focus will probably be mainly on the clubs, because with the boys at home, I need to just cut back a little bit on what I'm doing, basically. Self-striping, I was hoping to get some self-striping in the shop for February for Valentine's self-striping, but that's not going to happen this year. I can't do self-striping with the boys at home. It's absolutely impossible and too stressful. So again, with this lockdown, I'm just going to have to say no self-striping, unfortunately. But at least we managed to get some done last year. And yeah, so my main focus is going to be the clubs. The clubs are still open at the moment. So I've got the Once Upon a Time club, which is based on Grimm's fairy tales. And for January, we're doing Hansel and Gretel is January's theme. And you will get just 100 gram skeins of yarn. I've got various options. You've got the options of various different sock sets or single skeins or various different yarn bases, and you choose that. Keeping it really simple, no kind of major extras or anything like that at all. It's just the yarn, so I can keep the prices down for you. And then the other one is my Marvellous Monthly Minis. And I've shared the mood boards before on the podcast, and they're all available to view on my website and on Instagram. But you've got the choice of blanket boxes where you just get 10 gram or 5 gram minis, 10 gram or 20 gram minis, or sock boxes where you get an extra 20 gram mini in a kind of coordinating, contrasting colour so that you can create scrappy socks. And I've also got that available on DK 20 grams as well. They will all be open until the 15th of the month, and then I will get dyeing them. So yeah, that's going to be my main focus for the next couple of months. I think all the time the kids are off school, that's going to be more than enough work for me to get done, because you've all ordered amazingly. So thank you to anyone that's ordered so far. Right, I think I need to finish this now. I've talked about everything. I hope you've enjoyed the slightly longer episode. It was always going to be a longer episode today anyway, because I've got a lot to share with you post-Christmas. But hopefully having kind of the 3 shorter episodes and then the 1 longer episode each month will work quite well. I get the chance to have a little ramble and chat a little bit more and share a little bit more, but also there's shorter episodes later in the month, so that it's not too much to keep up with, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, I need to go now. I'm going to try and get this edited this afternoon and spend some time with the family, obviously. And I will see you all again next week. Have a really good week. Thank you for watching. Bye.